Hello, and today I'm gonna be painting. Well, actually, I painted it a while back, but dogs and dhotis, or lungis if I want to be actually correct, but it just sounds better with dhotis. Anyway, okay, so I compiled a few questions that y'all sent me. This is not all of them, but I'm just gonna answer 5 of them because this is a rather short video. There's not much, and I did the first dog a while back. I don't even know. This was on my desk for a while. I was meant to paint it. I don't even know how many weeks ago, but well, so I just got around to doing it, and then so here it is. And I have to tell you something else, and now I forgot. Story of my life. Anyway, okay, let me just get down to the questions. Kush Veru asked, wants to know where you get your post ideas from. So most of the posts that I do, I get them from anywhere really. So like usually something I think of during the day, I'll make a note of it, and then I'll usually draw it by the end of the day or in between the day or something like that. But there's no real one place I get them from. Mostly just when things happen, I make sure I usually don't draw things immediately when I think of them. I usually make a note and then draw it later. So, yeah. So, K. Hafsa asked, which pen do you use often? The pen that I use, and I have a video called Tools of the Trade, and but this is super old. I think it's a few years old actually, and it's quite different now. But and that time I think I used to use a brush, but now I use something called a brush pen. For most of my inking work, not so much for the painting, but it's the one I love and I use excessively. It's called the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen, and I found out where you can get it, and I'll link it in the little section where I can actually write stuff. I don't know what it's called. I'm very YouTube illiterate. So I'm not sure. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, so I'll definitely write it down below, and then you can pick it up from there if you like, or any brush pen, or actually even start with a brush. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just that a brush pen is easier because I don't have to keep dipping it into a bottle of ink. Juhi Raghuveer asked about has questions about Procreate, does cartoons and wants to upgrade to what is it? To digital, asking for suggestions on what tools to use, which iPad, pencil, etc. So I'm going to be doing a mini tutorial on Procreate, just the basics, just because I think that will just help you get started. And a lot of you asked for it, as well as Photoshop, I know. But I'll start with Procreate first. And so when to digitize the drawings that I do on paper, because I draw most of my stuff on paper, I just scan it in and then use Photoshop. So there are a bunch of videos where I explain how I actually do these, but that's the basics of it. And if you just want to like draw digitally, you can just draw directly on Photoshop with a mouse, or even preferably because it's easier, a Wacom tablet. And also, you mentioned the iPad, so I use the iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, which is amazing, and Procreate is the app I use to draw on the iPad Pro, which is also amazing. So if you want to go try that, you should. It's really nice. I mean, I'm really impressed by that. Anyway, okay, so Papang Tipi wants to know what sketchbook you use. So I don't really have one specific sketchbook I use. I use firstly all the freebie sketchbooks I get, and I also use this paper. I think it's called the XL Bond, and it's just basically photocopy. I have a feeling I talked about this before. Now to find where I talked about it, done it. But anyway, in short, it's just it's just a bond paper which people use to photocopy. It's just the little higher end version, but it's still really, really economical. And I started with it, and I still use it. And what I do is I buy it. Comes, I think, in a bunch of 200 papers, and I cut it because A4. I cut it into A5. And then I get it spiral bound. So that's the one I use the most, but right now I'm just using all the free notebooks I get. I'm not too picky, unless, but one thing I do check for is if it bleeds or not, because I use, so it just depends on the kind of ink also you use. Yeah, that's how I check what, if I can use a sketchbook where I'm not sure about the paper. Sanjana Donkar asked where you print your pictures from. So if you're talking about just the prints that we do, it's just basically a print shop. We used to do most of, like when I just started out, we used to print at a place called Print Express in Indranagar, Jeevan Bhimanagar in Bangalore. But basically, it's just a regular print. You can print at any print shop. They're like, I mean, I'm sure there's one near where you stay, or just like Google it in for the nearest print shop. Any regular size print shop should be able to do good prints, and you can ask for types of papers they have, and they'll give you a little sample book, and then you can do test prints, and yeah, take it from there. That's it. I hope this is useful. Do send me more questions. I'm getting them compiled. I'm also making a list of all the videos you'll ask me to do. So I hope that will be useful as well. Like, I think a bunch of you asked about showing my desk space and a flip through some of my drawing books. And also I'm trying to organize my Instagram highlights. So that would be useful for you guys if you want to see. So thank you. And send me questions. And bye. Have a nice day.